Dave Summers. Put your hands together. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm a little disappointed. I thought there'd be some excitement today. Hey, what? Yeah. Welcome and thank you for all joining me. First things first, though, I just want to welcome Link Light Rail to Snohomish County and Lynnwood City Center. So I'm Snohomish County Executive Dave Summers, I'm reading that here, and Vice Chair of the Sound Transit Board. Given the two hats I wear, I'm sure you can appreciate how thrilled I am that Link Light Rail is now officially delivering its longtime commitment to build a mass transit network that connects Snohomish and King counties. Yeah! Woo. We've been talking about building a light rail spine that connects the communities for a long, long time. In fact, Sound Transit as an agency was formed in 1993. Today, that promise becomes a reality. In practical terms, this means starting today, Snohomish County commuters have a brand new transportation pathway, an option to catch light rail here at Lynnwood City Center, where trains will arrive every 8 minutes during rush hour. An option to leave one of the most congested corridors in the country behind for a low-cost, traffic-free commute. Starting today, it's $3 wherever you go. And it'll be 30 minutes into downtown Seattle, no matter what time it is and what the traffic's like. It's 30 minutes. It gives us an option to get to the University of Washington, downtown Seattle, the Stadium District, or SeaTac without worrying about gas or parking, and eventually the east side and all the way down to Tacoma and beyond. In just an hour from now, you'll be able to check out this option when we invite all of you to get on board for our historic Day 1 ribbon-cutting ride. Before we get on board, though, there are a number of distinguished guests and speakers here today, from our U.S. senators to local mayors, state legislatures, from labor leaders to tribal leaders, city council members, county council members. So at this time, there's just far too many. We'd be here for the next week introducing everybody. If you're an elected official, tribal member, labor official, please stand up. Let us thank you. Tremendous, and as we talked today, a tremendous number of people over the years that have really brought this to reality. So we thank you all for your contributions. I must say that so many Puget Sound leaders are converging here in Lynnwood today to us to make it clear there's a bigger story than just a new train. The story of the day is regionalism. By connecting all of our separate communities with safe, reliable, rapid mass transit, we are building one sustainable Puget Sound community. I'd like to introduce an important member of our greater Puget Sound community to the stage to say a few words. And Ryan Miller with the Tulalip Tribes.
Oshligwalapo hat siayaya. As bubu lachi bitabusha twaltis alapo tia slacheo, twaltis as jewel. Dibash ti dufla shootseed dufs ugu salek. Stohobs chesh, stohobs chesh, stohobs chesh, to all chesh duf lelap. Good morning. We raise our hands to each and every one of you who are here together for this celebration. We are just a handful of the Tulalip Tribes Lashutsi Department language teachers, and we thank you for welcoming us here today. On behalf of the Snohomish descendants, the members of the Tulalip Tribes, we're here to open you up with a blessing, and then we would like to share a song with you. Flut iwis cheth, let us pray. O Chachat Shaksiab, Ut Igwitsi Chach Twaltia Slachel, Ut Igwitsi Chach Twaltia Sasquot Chach, Uwilikwitsi Chach, Guahalit Chaf Tia Lot Lot Chach, Guahalit Chaf Tia Bad Badat Chach, Guahalit Chaf Tia As Chatash Chach, O Basista.
Igwitsi, thank you everyone. Thank you particularly to the language warriors who came here today to share that opening with us, get us started in a good way. The chairwoman sends her regrets she couldn't be here with you today. She asked me to say a few words on her behalf. Today we're on the land of the Shtahobsh people and their successors, the Tulalib tribes. Since time immemorial, we have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We are still here today practicing our traditions and culture and working to bring about a future that is just and equitable for all people. When the people who live on or travel on our traditional lands acknowledge Tulalib's continued sovereignty, treaty rights, and relevance to the landscape, it helps us all manage our shared resources for a better tomorrow. Today we're gathered to celebrate the opening of the Lynnwood Light Rail. As a representative of the Tulalib tribes, I'm honored to share this moment with you and to reflect on the profound impact this project will have on our community and our environment. The Lynnwood Light Rail is more than just a transportation project. It's a symbol of progress and sustainability. For generations, our people have stewarded the land, understanding the importance of preserving our natural resources. This light rail extension aligns with our values by providing a green alternative to driving, significantly reducing our carbon footprint, and by reducing heavy metals and toxic chemicals from brake dust and tires that threaten our sacred salmon. By choosing to ride the light rail, we are collectively taking a step toward cleaner air and a healthier planet for future generations. Economically, the benefits of this project are equally significant. The light rail will connect our community to new opportunities, fostering economic growth and development. It will provide easier access to jobs, education, and services, enhancing the quality of life for all residents. Local businesses will thrive as more people can travel conveniently, boosting our local economy and creating a vibrant and interconnected community. This project represents a commitment to inclusivity and accessibility. It ensures that everyone, regardless of their background or economic status, has access to reliable and affordable transportation. This inclusivity strengthens our community bonds and promotes social equity, values that are deeply rooted in our tribal traditions. As we celebrate this achievement, let us remember the collaborative efforts that made it possible. From the engineers and construction workers to the planners and community advocates, this project is a testament to what we can achieve when we work together toward a common goal. The Lynnwood Light Rail is not just a new mode of transportation for South Snohomish County, it's a beacon of hope for a sustainable and prosperous future. Let us embrace the opportunity to protect our environment, boost our economy, and strengthen our community. Together we can ensure that the benefits of this project are felt for generations to come. Lynnwood.
Thank you again to Tulalip tribes and to all the Native communities who have lived and cared for our region since time immemorial. Thank you, guys. Wise words. Since day one, our federal delegation in Washington, D.C. has been invaluable when it comes to championing transit expansion and sound transit projects. So I'd like to introduce U.S. Senator Patty Murray. Senator Murray has been Senator Murray has been a strong voice for the people of Washington State since she was first elected to the Senate in 1992. Yeah. She currently serves as chair of the U.S. Senate Committee on Appropriations, and she also serves on the Senate Committee on the Budget, the Committee on Veterans Affairs, and the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. We're grateful to have her here today and for all she's done for us in this region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Summers. It is great to be here with so many amazing leaders, tribal members, community members, and a special shout out today to all the workers who put in the hours and effort and actually built this link line. Thank you to all of you. Wow. What a great crowd that's here today, and I have no doubt as this station picks up steam and picks up passengers, we're going to see bigger crowds. Crowds of people who are heading to work in the city or to the airport, to catch a flight, to school at the U, maybe even heading to catch the game tomorrow at Husky Stadium. Or just people who are heading home to their family after a long day, who are perhaps just a short bus ride or bike ride or walk to their families from this station. And as I think about the future, I have to say, don't you just love it when a plan actually comes together? Especially a plan like this. This one has been a long time coming, but it is going to be so worth the wait. You know, as a champion of this project every step, believe me, it has taken a lot of pushing and prodding and fighting to bring home the federal resources to make this all happen. But as you know, I will continue to fight for Washington State and for public transit, and I'm proud to be here with our delegation, Senator Cantwell and Congressman Larson, working at our side every step of the way. You know, I remember fighting the previous administration that was threatening transit funding and transportation projects all across our country. And I remember pressing the Department of Transportation in hearings and letters and phone calls in just about every way I could to save the Lynnwood Link extension from the chopping block and to get a signed full funding grant agreement in the first place. In fact, even before we had that agreement, a year before that, we got the first $100 million in May of 2017 from the Capital Investment Grant funding from that fiscal year bill. And then, of course, many of you remember the COVID hit, and we had to get extra help when projects like Lynnwood were facing supply chain issues and reduced leadership and huge challenges. And of course, most recently, I had to fight off extreme cuts to capital investment grant funding that would have stalled this project in its track literally and left Washington State families in the lurch. If those cuts had won out, we would be dealing with a delay right now rather than celebrating this great opening. But as the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, I went into that negotiation and I put my foot down for the capital investment grants funding, and I told my colleagues sitting across from me, you will not cut this public transit funding, not on my watch. That's how we got to today. And I want all of you to know I will always bring Washington State into the negotiating room with me and go to bat for public transportation and projects like this again and again, from every one of our funding bills to our bipartisan infrastructure law. And I am so proud to say I have brought back nearly $2 billion in federal grants and loans for the Lynnwood extension to make this project possible. And again, working with Maria and Rick, we will make sure the federal government completes its commitments, and the sooner the better. So it is really great to be here today and see how these investments pay off. And let's be clear, it's important to remember, as Executive Summers referred to, these 4 stops are just the start, because the reality is we are celebrating more than a new light rail service for Lynnwood and Shoreline and Mount Lake Terrace. We're also opening the door to a new future for these communities, one that folks have been planning for a very, very long time. And when I talk about plans coming together, this is not just about these new light rail stops. We are building and plugging families into a robust and reliable public transportation system. This isn't just one project. It is part of a vision for all of us, and we're all working hard to make it a reality together. It's the new pedestrian walkway I saw when I visited Shoreline construction site earlier this year. That's going to make that station safe and accessible for folks who come on foot and bike. It is the 10,000 apartments that are built or are being built along the extension that will help bring down the cost of housing. It is the Swift Orange Line, which started up earlier this year, that connects this station to even more families and commuters. It's the Sound Transit East Link that we kicked off earlier this year, another branch of the growing network that Lynnwood is going to be connecting to really soon. And it is the many other public transit projects that are underway at this very moment. So we're not just building public transit, we're not just connecting bus stops and light rail stops and lines on a map. We are connecting small businesses with new workers, new customers, new opportunities. We're connecting our communities and our families to each other, and we're making our communities more walkable, more affordable, and more livable. So I just want to say today, I am so grateful to everyone, all the people who've worked so hard over so many years to get this new line up and running, and on all the other worthwhile projects we're all working on together. I am really excited to see what's next for this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and thanks for all you do for Washington State and for the United States. And now it's my honor to introduce Maria Cantwell, our other Washington, one of two hardworking senators. Senator Cantwell was first elected in 2000 and reelected 3 times now. Senator Cantwell currently serves as the chair of the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, which is great for transit supporters because she has delivered on a Link light rail champion. She's been a great champion for us. She also serves on the committees on energy and natural resources, finance, Indian affairs and small business, and entrepreneurship. We're so glad that you could join us here today, Senator. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's such an honor to be here with you in Snohomish County. And we can't start this proceeding any further without recognizing and thanking Joni Earl, the first Sound Transit leader and someone who always had her eye here on Snohomish County and really always wanted us to get to this day. It's so great to be here. I also want to thank my dear colleague, Senator Murray, because someday when they write the story of all of this, but we already know it's true today, Senator Murray is the godmother of sound transit and regionalism for us to commute. So thank you, Senator Murray, and thank you for that leadership. I also want to thank the 44th District legislators and the 21st District legislators, because really it all started way back then. But Marco Elias and John Lovick and Representatives Donnelly and Berg, and hopefully I haven't forgotten too many other of those individuals. But I also want to just give a shout out to Mayor Frizzell and to Mayor Matsumoto from Montlake Terrace, because these are the communities most impacted here, and they've also played an incredible role. And I'm so glad to really be here with the Sound Transit Board Chairman, King County Council Executive, Dow Constantine. Dow, thank you so much for being here. And my dear colleague, Representative Rick Larson, who does so much for our region. And we, as Patty said, we're a team back there fighting for opportunities. People don't realize, but 130,000 people commute from Snohomish County to King County every day. And not only does Snohomish County have the most commuters to King County of any other region in our state, this congestion costs our commuters about $700 a year. That's the extra gas time, that's the extra wait, that's the extra problems that we see. And so this project offers us relief, cutting that traveling time down and giving us an option. So for all the Snohomish County residents, and I'm one too, for all the people in Montlake Terrace, in Edmonds, in Lynnwood, in Mukilteo, in Martha Lake, even up in Everett, we can say, finally, the day has come for a faster, cheaper way for us to commute to Seattle and have a more connected region. So thank you, Sound Transit, and everyone who's worked on this project for so many years. Finally, the moment has arrived. And we're celebrating now that we'll have a different commuting experience. Instead of pumping your brakes, you might be writing down and reading the paper. You might be celebrating less time in traffic and a little more family time at home. You might just be celebrating the fact that there is this almost traffic-free express lane, this transit lane, to go all the way to Seattle and departing every 10 minutes, which means it's such a great opportunity for us to decide. People may not realize, but the commuting options we've had in the past have been limited by the time they leave and the time they came back, so it really wasn't this opportunity to plan a day in Seattle. But now we can. We can go to any of those sporting events. We can go to musical events. We might just have a family day going down to the International District and coming back. But all of this now is a system that pretty much is going to run all day from early in the morning until past midnight. And what a great opportunity for us here. And what can you say? Not having to pay that expensive, too expensive parking fee in Seattle. We now won't have to deal with that because we will have these options. So I too want to thank Sound Transit, all the workers, all the tradesmen. I want to thank our federal partners for everything. And as Patty said, we had to fight. I don't think people understand how much. When the Trump administration came into office, it literally said it wanted to cut the capital investment grant program. Now, why would you want to do that? It was a calculus that people said, oh, those are transit states. Oh, those are big states that care about transit. Well, we made it clear to them in the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I made it clear to Secretary Chow. She wasn't going to get confirmed as the transportation secretary unless they supported this grant program and unless they supported this project here in Snohomish County. So, as Patty said, so 50% of this project were these federal dollars, and it came at a time when we didn't have a lot of choices and COVID was crippling us. So that fight to get nearly $2 billion, or a little over $2 billion, is what made this a reality today. So thank you everybody for this great, great moment in celebration. Patty and I have been to, let's just say, a lot of celebrations in King County. Well, guess what? Today is Snohomish County's moment, and we're going to celebrate. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Senator. We're so fortunate to have you both working for us every day, and so we're so grateful. I'm going to take a little license here just for a second to recognize two people in the audience. I would like to recognize former Sound Transit CEO Joni Earl. Joni, good to see you. And former FDA Administrator and Sound Transit CEO Peter Rogoff. Peter, are you here? He's here somewhere. There you are. Thank you so much. So now it's my honor to introduce our FDA Administrator, Veronica Vanterpool. As a national leader for transit efforts, she's worked to advance the goals of equity, climate, innovation, safety, and workforce development. She oversees the policy priorities, objectives, and daily operations of FTA. It's a pleasure to have her here today, and please join me in welcoming FDA Administrator Vanterpool.
Thank you, County Executive Summers. This is an incredible, incredible crowd. And let me tell you how we started our trip to the Pacific Northwest. We started in Portland, Oregon, and we have celebrated 3 transit projects. So to end our visit here this time around with this incredible group is just a touching and humbling moment for us at Federal Transit Administration. Our mission is to improve America's communities through public transportation, and that is what we are doing. That's what we've done with the 3 projects we've celebrated, but we're ending on one of the strongest notes here. And I certainly want to add my thanks to Senators Murray and Cantwell and Congressman Larson. They have been our champions. The program that we heard Senator Murray and Cantwell talk about, the Capital Investment Grant Program, is the program of the Federal Transit Administration. And without their support, without their fight, we would not be able to invite and support and fund more transit projects throughout the country, transit projects just like this. I also want to thank the Tulule tribe for sharing your lands with us for a project that connects and nourishes communities. And I want to thank you and the tribe for that blessing. I want to thank our labor partners, because without the work of our labor partners and leaders, we would not be here celebrating projects today. And I also want to thank all the elected and appointed and local leaders here. I had the opportunity to speak with a number of mayors this morning. You all have just great leadership here in Snohomish County. And then lastly, well, 2 more lastlies. I certainly want to thank former FTA Administrator Peter Rogoff. He started this project with a lot of support here. And then lastly, thanking our regional administrator, Susan Fletcher, and her team. They work very closely with Sound Transit. The leadership here is wonderful under Jaron and his team, and want to thank them for their steadfast guidance and support. So Federal Transit Administration supported this project with $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. That is a significant amount of money. And I loved what Senator Cantwell said. She said, this is a traffic-free transit lane. That's absolutely right. I love that description. We are very, very proud to support this light rail extension that serves as an important link between Seattle and the region. And you might know that transit is a very big deal in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, between Portland and the Seattle regions, 148 million people a year are using public transportation. So Lynnwood Link will speed up the journeys of people already taking transit, but it will also encourage more people to leave their cars behind. So people are going to be able to zip back and forth a lot easier between Westlake Station downtown and Lynnwood City Center in less than 30 minutes. 4 new stations, Snohomish County residents can travel to jobs, watch a Huskies game, or catch a one-seat ride to SeaTac. So this is an efficient and fast ride, and we're offering people a green alternative. You might know that any person who switches from a 20-mile commute alone by car to a public transit option reduces their annual carbon dioxide emissions by 20 pounds per day. That's more than 48,000 pounds a year. That's a 10% reduction in greenhouse gases produced by a typical 2-adult, 2-car household. And I know that matters to this community. I know that matters to the Pacific Northwest. Sound Transit expects as many as 50,000 riders are going to board Lynnwood Link each day within the first 2 years. And Snohomish County is already seeing the benefits. As we know, where transit goes, development follows. In this country, there's a 3 million home deficit, and affordable housing comprises the biggest gap in that deficit. But what I've been reading about the investment here in Snohomish County is the significant investment you all are making toward affordable housing, to new housing, towards transit-oriented development, because you understand that connecting people and their homes to viable public transit options and walking options and scooting options and biking options yields benefits that are economic, environmental, and health. So I really want to applaud you all for thinking ahead and planning now. Lynnwood Center has more than 3,000 new homes, and an 8-story apartment complex with 425 homes is going up next to Mount Lake Terrace. The Biden-Harris administration is committed to these goals. We're committed to equity, we're committed to mitigating climate change, we're committed to our labor and our workforce community. So over the past 3.5 years, by passing the bipartisan infrastructure law, we have been investing in our people, in the American people, in jobs, in manufacturing, in sustainable livelihoods in the transit industry. And in the 4th year of the Biden-Harris administration, we're seeing what's possible when we have a president, a vice president, a secretary of transportation, and administration at Federal Transit, and our federal delegation in Congress that has a vision and that's committed to putting dollars behind that vision. Because a vision is great, but you need money to execute the vision. So under the Biden-Harris administration, we funded 10,200 public transit projects. 10,200. And we're rebuilding more than 10,000 bridges, 1,100 airports, 170 rail projects, 400 highway rail crossings, and we're following through on the president's promise to install 500,000 electric vehicle charging infrastructure throughout the country. It's a transformative time. Thank you all for capping off our visit here in the Pacific Northwest. Thank you for being a community that celebrates and supports and invests in public transportation, but most importantly, in each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Vanderpool. And we know you have a 1:15, 1:30 flight out of SeaTac. It's too bad it's not running yet, but we thank you for your presence here today. And Before I introduce our next speaker, I should say that today's celebrations would not be possible without the support of our onboard sponsors, Skanska and HNTB, as well as our supporting partners, Snow Isle Libraries, Hoffman Construction Company, and PGH Wong Engineering. Can you guys wave for Skanska? Yep. Thank you so much. Next up, I want to introduce my counterpart and good friend, King County Executive Dow Constantine. Dow is also the Sound Transit Board, and it's really inconceivable we would be here today without Dow's decades of leadership as a tireless transit advocate. And I'm especially grateful for his partnership on the Sound Transit Board, where even as he has advocated for King County, he has prioritized regionalism to ensure light rail service serves Snohomish County. Dow.
Well, thank you so much, Executive Summers. My goodness, what a crowd. Snohomish County is enthusiastic about this. I am Dow Constantine. I'm the executive of King County. I'm also the chair right now of the Sound Transit Board. And I want to thank you all for joining us to celebrate a landmark achievement for our region. As we bring Sound Transit light rail service into Snohomish County for the first time. Today we inaugurate 4 new light rail stations in North King and South Snohomish County, lifting tens of thousands of daily riders up out of the maddening daily traffic jams on Interstate 5 and into frequent, fast, reliable, altogether better commuting. As now, Dave, the longest serving Sound Transit Board member by a bit, I believe I'm the last man standing, the only one who actually worked on putting this measure on the ballot back in 2008. So thank you, everyone, for helping make it happen. I am so pleased that this 8.5-mile Lynnwood Link extension fulfills the mandate that we asked for and that the voters gave us back in 2008 to reach Lynnwood. We are now well on the way to nearly doubling the light rail system to a 62-mile regional network by next year, when we add 2 more major extensions to Federal Way and then across the lake to the east side in King County. The 1 line will connect to the 2 line, and you'll be able to not only go north-south, but you'll be able to travel across the lake to Bellevue and to Redmond. What an incredible regional hub this will be, by the way, as we bring together light rail, regional buses, and many other modes to create one of the system's largest intermodal hubs. As King County Executive, I am excited to have 2 new stations serving North King County residents with speedy, traffic-free connection to the heart of South Snohomish County or anywhere else they want to go in the system. It will be just 28 minutes from where we are here to downtown Seattle every time. 51 minutes to downtown Bellevue. And as has been mentioned, most important of all, just 20 minutes from this platform right here to the front door of Husky Stadium. No game day traffic. No parking hassles. The 2024 season kicks off tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I expect to see you there. You have no excuses now. Go Dogs. At King County Metro, we are redeploying and adding bus hours to bring more riders to these rail extensions, and not just on our side of the county line either. We have a new Metro Flex service that is going to allow people to, on demand, connect to the Mount Lake Terrace station so that more and more people in more and more neighborhoods can take advantage of light rail. That service begins on the 16th of September. And as I've always said, the transportation we build determines the land use that we will live with. These 4 new stations are the hubs and the catalyst for the new housing our region so desperately needs. Some 10,000 new homes are already finished or under development within walking distance of these 4 new stations, with thousands more to come. System-wide, on Sound Transit property alone, over 3,300 new homes have been built or are being built, and some 2,500 of those are affordable, below market rate, and with access to opportunity throughout the region. Light rail is also great for our environment. Fossil fuel-powered vehicles are the largest source of climate pollution in Washington State, with personal cars and trucks accounting for much of that pollution. Our transit service helped avoid more than 216,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions last year alone, and the more transit options we create, the more carbon emissions we prevent. And we are creating more. We are creating more from here. It's onward, north to Everett. I have a good reason to care about this. Some of you know this. About 120 years ago, my great-grandparents set out from Arkansas and Missouri, or Missouri, as they insisted on calling it, and stepped off the train and into a new life amid the timber mills of Snohomish County. More than a century ago, my grandfather and his kid brother, brash young Everett High School graduates, boarded the Interurban and set off from Everett on a grand adventure to play football on the muddy new Montlake field of the University of Washington Sun Dodgers. They didn't become the Huskies till a couple years later. And I am looking forward to that day, not long from now, when my daughter and I will board the one line at home in the West Seattle Junction and ride it all the way to Everett and walk the streets her great-great-grandparents walked, and pay respects to our people in the old cemetery, and at the same time see in that old mill town the future of our growing metropolitan region. With rail, with transit, we are building a better quality of life. And for ordinary, hard-working families like the one I just described, opening the doors of opportunity for generations to come. Today marks a major step in that ongoing journey, and I am thrilled to have been allowed to play a small part in it. But how many hundreds, how many thousands of...
So joining us now on stage, I am very excited to introduce Executive Secretary of the Northwest Building and Construction Trade Council, Todd Taylor. So the Building and Construction Trades Council works to provide coordination and support so organized workers in these trades have a voice in government. Major undertakings like light rail extension and all the related growth along this corridor would not be possible without our skilled workers. Please welcome Secretary Taylor.
Thank you, Executive Summers, sorry. Thank you for allowing me to share a few comments today, too. As Executive Summers said, my name is Todd Taylor. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Northwest Washington Building and Construction Trades Council. And on behalf of the affiliates of the Council who had members work on the Lynnwood Link of Sound Transit, we would like to say thank you for this opportunity to work on a project of this magnitude that provides an essential service for the community. It seems like it was just a short time ago that we were here at a groundbreaking ceremony. Believe it or not, that was 5 years ago. As a reminder to everyone, the work on the Lynnwood Link was performed under a project labor agreement. 5 years ago, we talked about provisions contained within the PLA that had set aside goals for minorities and apprenticeship utilization. I'm pleased to report that over the course of the project, and these are great numbers, contractors selected hired 8,493 total craft workers who worked a total of 6,048,083 hours. Out of those 8,493 craft workers, 32.4% of the workforce were workers of color. 44.1% of apprentices were apprentices of color. 7.4% of the workforce were women, and 20% of all apprenticeship hours were performed by female apprentices. Those are great numbers. So in 5 years, a lot of work has been accomplished, and that couldn't have happened without the contractors selected to work on this project. There were 3 prime contractors selected for the Lynnwood Link: Skanska, the joint venture SKH of Stacy and Whitbeck with Kiewit and Hoffman, and Mass Electric. Under those primes, there were 179 unique contractors that performed work on the Lynnwood Link, 35 of which were locally based in Snohomish County. On behalf of the Northwest Building Trades, we say thanks for creating a positive and safe work environment and for helping Sound Transit reach its goals under the PLA. Of course, the Northwest Building Trades is very proud of the men and women who belong to the affiliated crafts that make up the building trades. I know I've seen some hard hats and orange vests out there today, so please give those guys a hand. Those individual crafts are doing a terrific job promoting apprenticeship and providing career opportunities to all. It's great to see what can be accomplished when labor and management work together, providing good paying jobs to local craftsmen and craftswomen while producing something that greatly benefits the communities they live in. Again, congratulations on the completion of the Lynnwood Link, a project the Northwest Building Trades were proud to be a part of. Thank you.
Now joining us is a very good friend of mine. Little remembered fact, Rick and I were elected to the Snohomish County Council in 1998 together, so I had the pleasure of working with him. But Rick has really fought for Snohomish County for years in Congress, continually bringing back dollars to our community to build much needed infrastructure projects, big and small. He's a ranking member of the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, and he understands what sustainable, reliable light rail means for Snohomish County. Rick.
Some days it seems like 1898 when we got elected together, but I want to take a prerogative and thank some folks to start. First, I want to thank the firefighters who responded to the fire alarm at 4:30 in the morning at my condo this morning and helped us get out safely and no problems. But it's also a reminder to thank the first responders who are here and the transit security folks who are here, who will be part of your rides every day to make sure you have a safe experience as well. I want to thank the transit security folks. I want to thank 2 of my favorite constituents, Senator Murray and Senator Cantwell as well, for all the great work that they're doing in Congress and for not calling my office asking me to fill their potholes, because they can call their own office for that. But also all the folks who are here who have spoken, but all of you as well, the taxpayers of the Pacific Northwest who've chosen to back this program, this light rail project, as well as many others, including the next version of this in Sound Transit 3, which is really part of your legacy. And I know you all know this, but I wanted to say it. Take pride of ownership of light rail in the Pacific Northwest. You are making it happen. You own light rail. You are going to make it a success. You already are making it happen. Take that ownership and continue to invest in that long-term legacy for the Pacific Northwest. And light rail, sure, light rail means a lot of things. People are mentioning the Husky game tomorrow, and I will say go Cougars for the Cougars in the audience as well. Always the easy line. But don't forget the Metallica concert tonight as well. But also, it just goes to show you can't have a big league economy with little league infrastructure. And light rail here in Lynnwood is already a home run for people. Now you can safely get to and from work by car, by bus, by foot, bicycle, even the ZIP shuttle service that community transit has started. Housing and commercial developments are already transforming the landscape around this area in Lynnwood and in Mountlake Terrace. But Congress has to continue to act to provide reliable funding. More than $1 out of $3, more than $1 billion that is invested in this extension is federal funding from the CIG program, which has already been discussed by our two great senators who are two great advocates for it. But the President Biden likes to talk about having an infrastructure decade. And just a reminder, the bipartisan infrastructure law is really only a 5-year bill. That's not a decade. We need 5 more years of another bipartisan infrastructure law. And outlining the successes like Lynnwood Link help us in Congress go back to Congress and make the case why we need another 5 years of infrastructure. It was just a beginning, and we need to continue to invest in long-term growth, economic growth, that comes when investing in transportation, because transportation means jobs, and you've heard it from Todd already. And I want you to know that people are watching. I was in Bellingham on Tuesday night, and they were asking me, like, when is light rail coming to Bellingham? I told them 2075. A year after it gets to Everett. I know. Pressure's on, people. Pressure's on. So we need to continue to emphasize the importance of these transformative projects that are creating jobs, that are building a cleaner, greener, safer, and more accessible transportation system for us in Northwest Washington State. So I want to thank you again for inviting me to celebrate with you today. With that, I'll turn the podium back over to David Summers. Thank you.
Only my mother calls me David. It sends chills up my spine. So I've had the privilege of working with our next speaker on county projects in the executive's office, and he's here on this exciting day as one of our dedicated state senators and chair of the Senate Transportation Committee. As State Transportation Chair, Senator Mark Elias has prioritized policies that increase access to public transportation throughout Washington. He has been a voice for the people in this region who have been eagerly waiting for this day, when light rail opens in Snohomish County and brings with it better access to housing, jobs, education, culture, and entertainment in our region. Marco.
And let's give one huge round of applause to County Executive Dave Summers. Dave, will you stand? You don't get enough credit for all the incredible work that you've done to get us to this moment. We can't say it enough times, but we have the best federal delegation in the country here in Washington State. And Rick Larson, being chair of transportation, is the best job I've ever had. You're going to love it next year. We look forward to it. You know, folks, I checked the legislative record, and I want to let you know, when Sound Transit was authorized in 1992, then State Representative Maria Cantwell was one of the co-sponsors of the bill. And then State Senator Patty Murray voted to authorize the creation of Sound Transit. Our U.S. senators have been on this journey since the very beginning. I grew up in Snohomish County, so I gotta be honest. Today feels like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Pride all in one day. Can you feel it? And if we're honest with ourselves, Lynnwood Link opening is the biggest thing that's happened in Snohomish County since that first 747 rolled off the line in 1968. And Mayor Franklin, that first 747 was called the City of Everett. We're not done. This train is going to Everett. We're excited to see our way there. Now, I live here. I'm going to ride this train all the time, but I'm here as the chair of the State Transportation Committee, and this opening is a huge step forward for every single Washingtonian. Light rail will enhance mobility for every person in our state because it contributes to the strong multimodal system that we all rely on. Addressing congestion on I-5 means that apples and potatoes and wheat from central and eastern Washington can get to our ports and to the international markets they're going to faster and more efficiently. Creating commute options here means that we will reduce carbon emissions and clean the air, and it will benefit all of us across Washington State. And today's mobility revolution builds on our statewide work with our Move Ahead Washington package, which is intended to transform our transportation system to be cleaner, greener, and more resilient. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that because of Move Ahead Washington and the Climate Commitment Act, every single young person that rides these trains will ride for free. This means more options for youth to access Edmonds College just up the road and the amazing apprenticeships and degrees and certificates available there. And speaking of apprenticeships, can we give it up one more time to the amazing workers, all union workers that built this incredible infrastructure? This opening and youth ride free means that kids today won't have to rely on a 1987 Chevy Blazer that gets 9 miles a gallon like I did to get to their job at the mall. And I'm excited to see this transformation for the region. By the way, I was driving to the mall in the 1900s for the youth of today. And I know for young people in this county, building a zero-emission transportation system and addressing the climate crisis is so important. That is why the Climate Commitment Act will also invest in critical transit, biking, and walking connections to help people get to the station. It's not enough to build the train, we have to help people get here to access those trains. And just in case I'm being too subtle, the Climate Commitment Act is also helping us plan station improvements at Ash Way, the next stop on the line that will open up in a few years. I don't know if you can tell, but I could talk about funding plans and transit vision for days. But ultimately, this opening is really about all of us. It's about the people that live here, that work here, that move around here. Where we're standing right now, where we're sitting right now, is going to be the site of tearful goodbyes as we drop loved ones off at the airport, and joyful reunions when they come back home to us. It's where we're going to wait to board a packed train, and we might go see Metallica, but I think more people want to go see Taylor Swift on these trains, and we're going to get there. And we're going to be sitting on this train wearing our jerseys with pride and maybe sometimes a little sadness as we go to games and come home. We're going to see bachelorette parties getting on these trains and young people taking their senior pictures on the platform. This is about the infrastructure of our lives that we are building here. As someone that grew up here, I have been waiting for this day for decades. I'm so excited that it's here, and I'm so excited for the journeys that we're all going to begin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marco. Marco's a little shy, so just you have to give him room. Thank you. Thank you. So now joining us is a star of the afternoon as we gather here in her city this morning. Mayor Frizzell has been tireless in bringing the city of Lynnwood into the future, whether it be through creating more housing for all, attracting new business to the city to create more jobs, and as we stand here today, ensuring that light rail meets the needs of Lynnwood and everyone who will rely on this station to get in and around the region. Mayor Frizzell, one of our 3 Sound Transit Board members, welcome.
Welcome to Lynnwood. I'm so excited to invite you to this incredible city. Generations of thoughtful, forward-thinking people have laid the foundation for what you see right around us. Today marks a huge milestone as we continue to build for our next generation and those who are yet to become part of this amazing community. My grandparents moved here from Iowa in the early 1930s. They set up a chicken farm right outside the current Lynnwood city limits. They kept that farm active for more than 30 years, raising 10 boys and supplying the growing area with dozens and dozens of eggs every day from their 2,500 chickens. Years later, I was born the same year that Lynnwood was incorporated, 1959. If you're working the math, I am 65. I started first grade at Meadowdale Elementary School. In high school, My first job was a few blocks from here at Lynnwood Library. When I was in college, I worked for my uncle's landscaping company, who was providing the landscaping at the newly built Alderwood Mall. One of my duties was to stop and water the trees at the mall as I would drive from his office in Clearview to my college classes at Edmonds campus. I was also part of the team that built South Lynnwood Neighborhood Park. Our community has seen and been part of quite a few changes here in Lynnwood through the decades. My roots are here, and I'm so proud to be the mayor of this wonderful city. In 1993, more than 200 community members laid out a plan called Lynnwood Legacy that envisioned and developed a plan for what Lynnwood would one day look like with a vibrant downtown city center. It included this space that we stand today, where they had the vision of regional rapid transit 30 years ago. In November 2008, as Dow has mentioned, there was a ballot measure in Snohomish County called Proposition 1. It was for Sound Transit to expand mass transit in King, Snohomish, and Pierce counties. It specifically named Northgate, Shoreline, Malik Terrace, and Lynnwood as station locations. When I first received my ballot, I was an undecided voter. I doubted that I would see real transportation improvement in our region in my lifetime. I talked with my then college and high school age daughters, Denise and Janine. Janine is here somewhere in the crowd with us today. The three of us are all Meadowdale High School graduates, and we have spent a lot of time traveling in and around Lynnwood. Before I voted, I asked them how they viewed transit. They spoke of traffic congestion, how we're responsible for the future of climate change, and the possibility of getting around easier in this area. They urged me to vote in favor of Sound Transit 2 and invest in what seemed to me like just a daydream. When I began to see what light rail could mean through their eyes and not my own, what they could see for their generation and next generations, I joined 94,847 other voters in Snohomish County and marked yes to Sound Transit 2. Little did I know that this day, 16 years later, would become a reality, or that I would be on this stage to help cut the ribbon for the opening ceremony. I am so thankful that I listened to my children, who are now adults. The light rail that we see today is more than just a train. It has become a catalyst and an inspiration for change, investments, and reimagining what we want and need our communities to be now and in the future. We come together today to see a dream born many decades, many generations ago, a dream to hand off to the many generations yet to come. I want to acknowledge the generations of public servants who have been in the boardrooms, on city councils, worked for the many municipalities in our region, and their resilience to keep this dream alive. Elected officials may have come and gone from their titles, but many still live in this area and are here today. Thank you for your service to our communities. This project in our city would not have been possible without our incredible City of Lynnwood employees. The Lynnwood Link extension has required thousands of hours of effort to ensure it will serve our community well. I want to extend my deepest and sincerest thanks to past and present city employees. Thank you for choosing Lynnwood. Finally, to those who have built this dream with their skills and trades, those who cleared land, poured foundations, constructed the walls and the structures, installed electrical, welded track, kept traffic moving, secured thousands of bolts and wires, installed art and landscaping, and everything else. You have built something that you can truly be proud of, and your community thanks you. Thank you to each of you who have joined us today to celebrate this event. It truly is a great day to be in Lynnwood. Ready? We have invited 2 young ladies from Project Girl, which is a Lynnwood-based mentoring program for young women of color, to talk to us about their perspective of transit and light rail and the future of our city. Welcome Logan Ruiz Rigo and Gia Marrakesh. Please come. Along with them is the founder of Project Girl, Olympia Edwards.
Oh, no, I'm not going first. You're first. Go ahead. Okay.
Oh, this is too tall. Hi, my name is Logan. I've been going to Project Girl for about 3 years now. 3 years. It's a really beautiful community, I would say. But I take the not that short. I take the Lynnwood bus every single day to go to this program, and it is a really nice experience. And with this light rail, more girls that look like me and are like me can have an opportunity to come to a program where they feel accepted and welcome and feel more confident in themselves and how they react with the world. So this is a very beautiful experience. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Gia, and I've been going here for 3 years as well. And as a person who doesn't usually take transit that much, the few times have taken it, it's been a wonderful experience, having either lovely chats or just it not being loud and chaotic, so I can just sit and think if I would need to. And so I would just like to thank everyone, for making that happen. So yeah.
Let's give Project Girl another hand. Thank you. It's really wonderful to hear from our leaders of the future. So a driving force throughout Sound Transit's history, which set out on its mission to build a regional transit system long before either of you were even born, this has been keeping our eye on the prize, making the Puget Sound sustainable for future generations. During all that time, someone who has played so many pivotal roles in both the public and private sector as part of that work is current Sound Transit Interim CEO, Jaron Sparman. Jaron, please.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dave. And of course, I get the hardest act to follow of any of the speakers up here. So obviously, I'm very happy to be here today. So thank you for joining us as we celebrate the new Lynnwood Link light rail extension and enjoy the premier ride. I'm painfully aware that I'm the last speaker before you get on the train. So I'm going to try to be very succinct. I'm sure you're ready to get on that train because I know I am. But I do have a few things I want to say, and they are mostly thank yous. It has already been said, and I'm just going to repeat it. These projects don't happen without all the people that do the physical work. So again, to all our contractor partners, our design partners, and the Sound Transit and adjacent agency teams, thank you so much. It's to your credit we are here today. My next big thank you is to the voters of this region. You told us to build the largest mass transit expansion program in the country. Thank you for your vision, and we're trying hard to actually make it happen in reality. This is, of course, today a major milepost towards that ultimate vision. It has been a vision, and we think we need to acknowledge this. It has been a vision that has been met with skepticism in the past. As many of us who live in the suburban parts of the region, we have seen that firsthand. And I'm so grateful to everyone for continuing to believe that reliable transit is the key to creating a more sustainable region. Thank you all for listening to your neighbors, finding ways to collaborate, and working to actually make this happen. Today, with this historic milestone, we are witnessing the results. This new service will transform life for everyone living along the I-5 corridor between Northgate in King County and Lynnwood City Center here in Snohomish County. You can see the transformation all around you with all the new public infrastructure and local developments. You've heard a lot today about all the benefits of this project and all the data around the cost, the economic benefits, and so forth. I have one more data point to torture you with, which is that when we look at this project, that we have one fact that hasn't really been mentioned. Thanks to our tree replacement program, after construction, this corridor will see a net gain of 15,355 new trees along the I-5 corridor. Now, granted, some of them is going to take some time to get really big, but hey, we are patient. We will make that happen. The reality is that this project is really working really hard to be well integrated with the environment. I have a couple of more thank yous. I want to thank Sound Transit's peer agencies around the region who worked with us to help us deliver what this region so badly wants and needs: one integrated transportation network. So thank you, Community Transit, my friend Rick Ilgenfritz, for recalibrating bus routes so an expanded light rail, one line, and community transit buses can work in concert for super efficiency and better serve the community. Thank you, Rick. Efficiency means buses that used to serve downtown Seattle and Northgate, eating up hours and hours stuck on I-5, will now be reinvested here in Snohomish County in providing real service as opposed to being stuck in traffic. The result will be better all-day service, new connections, better connections between light rail and the ferry system, and so much more, including a new BRT line, the Swift Orange Line, which opened earlier this year. Of course, it also takes high level of coordination with King County Metro, who also, by the way, just so you all know, actually operates Sound Transit's light rail system. And I don't know if King County Metro General Manager Michelle Alson is here, but if she is, a big thank you to her and to her team at King County Metro. And finally, Washington State Department of Transportation. I don't know if you all recognize, but most of the Sound Transit linked right rail system actually operates within Washington State Department of Transportation right away. So thank you, WashDOT, for being an outstanding partner, allowing us to use the state right-of-way to achieve the kind of projects that we want to achieve, including the project we're celebrating today. So, of course, in a few minutes, we'll get to see firsthand what this kind of collaboration means and the results of that work. And I can't wait to get on the train. And I know you're anxious for a bunch of more speakers, but Dave, I think I'm wrapping this up. So with that, I'm going to give it back to you, and thank you, everybody.
So thank you, Jeroen. Jeroen is stepped in as interim CEO and is just doing a stellar job. He's fantastic, and we all should be grateful to Jeroen Sparman. Thank you. And so what Jeroen meant to say, he was the last speaker before I deliver my prepared comments. which I've cut down in half to about 20 minutes. No, in just a few minutes we are going to be boarding. Before we do that, I want to invite you back to tonight's night market from 4 to 8 p.m. with family fun, live music, community booths, and food trucks at all 4 stations. The night market highlights exactly what this project has been about all along, which is community. A big thanks to the North City Neighborhood Association, the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce, the Montlake Terrace Chamber of Commerce, Snow Track, Asian Service Center, and Lynnwood Chamber of Commerce for bringing us tonight's festivities. Thank you. Now, for those who have been asked to join the ribbon cutting, please step through the opening here, the left of the stage, over here somewhere. And other folks I see are getting in line to board the trains. Anybody who wants to ride, please join them in going to the line entrance at the back of the plaza. I believe that's back there. Don't move yet. Don't. So, in closing, today we ride the new Link light rail system from Lynnwood south to Montlake Terrace and into King County and beyond. But tomorrow we continue the work. And if you look out, we have work to do building affordable housing. We have work to extend the light rail down to Ash Way, North Lynnwood, the Mariner community, Painfield, the Boeing Everett plant, which has, is their plant, the world's largest building in the world. You get to say world's largest in the world twice, it's so big. Casino Road, and then north to Everett. So join me in saying north to Everett. North to Everett. Thank you.
Okay, big